We wanted to be true and fair. In fact, look, no government has been true and fair to the cocoa farmer like we have done in the past year. And we are doing so because we want the cocoa farmer to get the full benefit of what they are supposed to get. Indeed, until 2025, we were not paying more than 70% of the FOB price to any cocoa farmer. In 2024, when the MPP announced the 3,000 Ghana cedi per bag, they told us that they were paying 2,600, they were paying 3,000 because they want to do 76% of the cocoa price. At the time, they had signed a forward contract of about 3,200. And so the 3,200, when they sell it at 3,000 Ghana cedi per bag, they were doing 76% of that price. But the actual price on the international market was 9,600, which is the FOB price. And so when you are doing the analysis and you want to be fair to the people, you price according to the price on the international market, not the forward sales that you have locked in. And the difference is almost about $6,000. And you say that you are doing 76%. So actually, between 2003 and 2023 and 2024, you would realize that the government was paying only 25% of the FOB price. 25% of the FOB price. And so government is saying that, okay, look, the farmer must benefit from the atoll. And so the thing is trading on the international market. It's like selling maize at 700, and you have a maize, and you want to sell it at 800. It won't work. So if the international price, the FOB price is 5,000, 5,200, 5,800, let's make an adjustment so that constantly the farmer can get 70% of the returns. Indeed, at the current price, which you displayed, $3,700. Yeah. At the FOB price, yes, $3,700.
Yes, this is.
If you look at this value and the amount we are paying to the cocoa farmer, it is beyond 90%. And it has never been done in the history of Ghana. In fact, the 90% of FOB price that we are paying to the farmer is historic since the days of Tetekwashi. And so these are things that we must bring out, and together as a people, difficult times, we have to galvanize the farmers to understand the realities of what we are putting in. And the fact that even the prices that we have put out, even though it's a reduction of the previous year's own, it makes them even more profitable and better off than keeping the beans and the beans going bad.
I see. And well, is it the same position you hold, Dr. Kabama?
Absolutely not. I mean, a complete deviation. Actually, the problem of Cocoa Board was President Akufo-Addo becoming president and putting the kind of management.
How is that possible?
Yes, and I'm going to be very blunt on it because you see, it's not the institution and the framework that has been created to manage cocoa. It's the individuals who put in charge of cocoa the past 8 years. They have caused the mess, and we need to be very frank about it. You see, from 2017 to 2024, there was just a constant streak of losses that was made by Cocoa Board. And the losses was so huge that you couldn't imagine what was happening. And at the time, cocoa was doing well on the international market. So from 2021, let's say even from 2020, we made a loss of about 199 million Ghana cedis. The following year, 395 million Ghana cedi. The following year, 78 million. We went as high as 400 and something million Ghana cedi.
Wait. Now, what's the source of those?
No, this is Cocoa Board data. This is Cocoa Board data. So you can
the losses that Cocoa Board had been posting.
Yes. This is Cocoa Board data.
From which year exactly?
From 2021, 199 million cedis.
Okay.
2022, 395 million cedis. 78 million 2023. Then 275 million. Then 426 million. And so it's been constant streak. So you would recall that somewhere between the 2022-2023 season, when we did the cocoa bills restructuring and under the DDEP, and the payments for those bills that were due were moved from beyond 2024, 2025 to 2028. They came out and said that they've chunked a profit of about 2.3 billion. Yes. You remember that?
Yes.
And that was the only artificial calabule profit.
What do you mean?
That was announced at the time. And so that was the only time that they announced something different apart from losses. And so it's been constant mismanagement, constant underperformance in the past 8 years. And that is what has brought us this far. We lost, because of this mismanagement, we lost our cocoa syndication. We couldn't go to the market. It collapsed completely. And obviously that was what led to the restructuring in 2023. There were other issues that has to do with just over procuring things that were not needed. In fact, the last 8 years, the agronomic responsibility of Cocoa Board was completely ignored. You know, Cocoa Board has two responsibilities: the agronomic responsibility and the economic responsibility. So they are supposed to help the farmers to be more productive, to produce more, to be more efficient. In the last 8 years, the activities that we have done in the past to support the farmers, like the free fertilizer, the spraying exercise, and even the extension services that is offered to the farmer, was completely taken away. So you have the instance where Cocoa Board was spending all their money on needless procurement. And you heard Randy Abe talk about the 26 billion, cocoa roads contract. That was not that alone. In fact, 4 days to elections, they were issuing LCs of about $48 million to buy cocoa sacks. Meanwhile, the cocoa sacks that were bought in 2021 are still in the stores. They have about 94,000 bales of the cocoa sacks of 2021 in the stores, some of which they used last year, 2024, 2025, 2026 season. And what is left can be used for 2026, 2027. Yet they issued LCs of 48 million to buy some bills. And the sad aspect is that the bills they imported in 2022, those they imported in 2023, and those they even imported early 2024 were not cleared from the port. And they are still at the port. And so you can't just understand what the Akufo-Addo government and the management of Cocoa Board were doing in the last 8 years. It's unbelievable.
And that's the reason
decisions they made were so injurious, not only to the sector, but to the economy of Ghana.
You see, I asked you the source of it. Yeah, just quick one.
See,
yes.
When we politicize the Cocoa Board issue,
no, you see,
I beg you. 1 minute. 1 second. I beg you. I beg you.
Yes.
We will not solve the problem. Okay? Do you know what took Mr. Oponi to court? All right? And when you talk about the bills and jute and whatever, I agree with you, it's wrong. Do you know the government under which Ghana
if you agree with me, let me say it.
I beg you. I'm making my point. I'm saying I agree with you on the mess in Cocoa Board, but it didn't start in the 8 years. Ghana recorded its highest cocoa production under Akufo-Addo. 2020-2021, over 1 million tons, the highest ever in our history.
And I'll tell you why.
Hold on. And the mess started way before even Mahama 1 government. Now, what we need to appreciate is that, look, we have a whole class of cocoa farmers who have what we call collateral economic effect on a nation. And we need to look at them as a special group. If there is going to be any welfare, we should target it at them. How many of us here didn't benefit from cocoa scholarships? The point is this: deal with the problems. I will agree with you if you find the people who imported those bills and lock them up. Yes. Okay? And the people who did fertilizer deals in the previous government and lock them up. But let's not make it a political thing. You knock it here and I knock it back. We should focus on Cocoa Board as a national issue and deal with it. Because so many people, millions, with collateral economic effect, all right, are going to suffer because of some of these things.
And in fact, that probe that you talk about, the finance minister has indicated there is going to be that probe.
So, Alfred, if I can finish my point.
For those who have to answer questions to do so. No, I wanted to conclude because the Honorable Andy Apiakubi will come to
Alfred, you see, the reason why you can't do discussions on cocoa without, bringing in politics or bringing in the politique and those elites who run government is that cocoa is a political matter that touches the lives of not only millions of farmers, but the entire nation. And that is why I am not worried the MPP did the press conference they did last few days. But I am heavily worried because they had to say the things they said after the mismanagement and how they managed Cocoa Board in the past few years. I've had to bring all these things in because the opposition are speaking. And they are making noise. And they caused this mess. Look, the rollover contracts of the 333,000 cocoa that we had to supply. Are you aware that if we were selling that cocoa that we produced last year, we're going to make over $941 million. That's almost $1 billion. $1 billion. And guess what? We had to sell that under the current price regime. They locked the contract in at $2,600. $2,600. When cocoa was selling at $10,000, and you displayed that. Cocoa was selling 10,000 on the spot market. In the futures market, $12,000 US. And they locked in a contract of 2,600. And you said this is not a political matter. This must not be discussed. This cannot be said. No, please, Kofi, let me land, please.
Okay.
I mean, please allow me to make my analysis. I mean, you are not being fair to me. So these are issues that we have to talk about. And look, you cannot talk about the reforms and the resetting we are putting in place if you do not discuss this and let people appreciate what we are going through. These are very difficult times. And so last year, we have had to buy cocoa at the current prevailing price and sell it at $2,600. Those losses, who are going to pay for it? Almost $150 million US.
I have been, like you said, because it's a policy issue. We've done quite a bit of work on it, and we are not very favorable when it comes to cocoa board and the effect of cocoa board. All right. The interesting thing you find is that before the colonial people set up cocoa board, we had a whole middle class of Ghanaians who became rich, wealthy on cocoa. All right. And the idea was that cocoa board was going to mobilize them so that their wealth could be kind of targeted for national development. One of those outputs was the University of Ghana. So you could see what could be done when you mobilize that whole area. But unfortunately, if you look at the trajectory since cocoa board was formed, Kwame Nkrumah made it, a central piece of our economy. The farmers' lots have gone down, and the state has basically benefited. If you look hard, you realize that cocoa farmers are amongst the most taxed workers in this country. From a period before independence when cocoa farmers were rich, and after independence, cocoa farmers became poorer and poorer and poorer and poorer. Today, I'm not sure if you can find anybody who can tell you that I am a rich cocoa farmer also. And recently we did some work looking. He's rich, but not because of cocoa. We did some work, and it turns out that there are some very interesting cocoa farmers, educated, in fact, some chiefs and others who, in our view, without a cocoa board, they can organize themselves sufficiently, to mobilize the cocoa and market it. We need to rethink the cocoa board paradigm.
Yeah, but by law, you are not allowed to.
Well, that's the problem. When you make a law that stops somebody from achieving what is their highest potential, then that law is a problem. And I just said, we need to rethink the cocoa board paradigm. Today, as we speak, cocoa board is a problem to farmers. It's a problem to the country. What are we talking about?
Management is the problem.
Cocoa board is a problem everywhere. So we need to rethink the cocoa board paradigm. It's been over 50 years, and clearly something is wrong.
Is it about the institution or the management of the institution? There are two different things.
You see, we like to think in those terms, but we like to think in terms of paradigm. Because if you say it's the institution, what has it done? If you look at the objects, what it is intended to do, they are all good things. But good ideas don't implement themselves. And when we talk about paradigm, what we mean is that, look, everywhere in the world, when you set up government behemoths, monopolies, and these kind of massive institutions with law behind them, they devolve, they degenerate. So what we need to do is, what are we trying to achieve? Mobilize cocoa farmers. Make sure they get the benefit of their own work. Make sure we also get the benefit of our own work. And clearly we are going down. Look, by our projections, in the next 5 years, because of Galamsey and a number of things, Ghana is going to lose its position as a second. Ghana will drop to like 3 or 4. As we speak, China is producing cocoa. All right? As we speak, there are all kinds of cocoa plantations. The whole idea of how to produce cocoa has changed. Ghana is one of the few countries that is still using the same methods that we used 100 years ago, which has an effect on the quality of our cocoa. But clearly, as we speak right now, we are going down on every level. Quantity, we are going down. Quality, we are going down. And we are likely to lose our place. So look, we need to rethink the cocoa board paradigm. We need to rethink our cocoa industry. We sat here, Ivory Coast came in, they did it differently. And now they are producing far many more tons than we are producing. We claim that ours is a better quality. But I can tell you right now, that premium, we are losing it. Some of the things going on right now, it is because we are facing competition across the world from places that we didn't know could produce cocoa and produce it to compete with us. So we are doing something wrong when it comes to cocoa. And I think Cocoa Board is in the center of that mess.